Hi everyone and welcome to a new video where we're going to talk about the books I read in 2025. The idea of this video is to get to know each other. You're more than welcome to leave any comments on what books you like, which ones you don't, what you've read in 2025, if there's anything you're looking forward to 2026, and that you get to know what I normally read and what you're going to be seeing in this channel. To be honest, 2025 was a bit of a different year because I normally read lots of romance and lots of fantasy, but last year was not really in the mood of fantasy, and I really wanted to discover new things, read things that I don't normally see on social media. So I've been reading lots of different things and I've been trying to discover new things as well that I'm gonna share with you. Anyway, I've got a list of the books I read in 2025 that are 28, and what I'm going to do is just join those books that are part of the same series or trilogy, just to talk about them as a whole and not individually. I'm going to go in order, more or less, and we're just going to see what I think about these books I read in 2025 and if I recommend them or not. Let's go with it then. We're going to start with the Boys of Tommen series, one of my favourite series in the whole universe. I completely adore it, and I was really surprised when I read the first book because it was completely different to what I was expecting, and I thought I was not going to like this series, but in the end is, as I said, one of my favourite. To be honest, I don't want to say much about what it is about because I feel like the less you know, the better it is. However, there is something really important you need to know, and it's that even though lots of people think about Boys of Tommen as a teenage romance, it is much more than that, and there's lots of difficult topics, lots of hard things you're gonna read, and there's lots of triggers in it. So if you're thinking about reading it or you're gonna read it, please read what's about, please read which triggers it has, and just decide if it's a book for you or not. That said, I need to share with you why I absolutely adore this series, and I would really recommend it if you think it's something that you can handle. Basically, I feel like Chloe Walsh, the author, makes everything so deep and it gets you really into this story. She has lots of details about absolutely everything. So I feel like it's really easy to get completely involved in it and like surrounded by the whole world, and you're gonna have so many feelings while reading this book. It's gonna make you cry, it's gonna make you laugh, it's gonna make you mad, it's gonna make you nervous. It has absolutely everything, and I just completely adore it because of it. The next book is Nunca es Mañana, which is in Spanish, and it was gifted to me by the author Noelia Rodriguez. It is a romance between two young people that have known each other their whole life. Basically they kind of want to be something more, but life keeps getting in the way. To be honest, for me, it was not really my cup of tea. It has loads of different tropes. It felt like too many tropes, to be honest. And it also has the miscommunication trope, which I absolutely don't like at all. Now we're going to talk about the Empyrean series, which is Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and On It to Storm. I reread the first two so I could get to the third one. I feel like everyone knows about these books because everyone's been talking about them. I know that they're not the best fantasy books in the world, and I kind of feel like Iron Flame and Fourth Wing are really similar. However, they are the books that got me into reading again in 2024, and I just feel like they're really easy to read and they're really easy to get you into fantasy. So if you haven't read fantasy before, I feel like these books are really good to get you into it and then just evolve from there in a way. For me, they're really entertaining, they're really cool. It has dragons, which everyone likes. We go with another romance and another miscommunication trope with Normal People. Normal People is a romance between two people that are quite different in a way but quite similar in another. I really like the idea. I think the writing is amazing and I really enjoyed it in a way, but as I said, I don't like miscommunication trope. It just gets into my nerves, so I didn't enjoy it as much as people normally do. However, if you don't mind the miscommunication, I think it's a pretty good book. It's written by Sally Rooney, which lots of people adore, so you should give it a try. and see by yourself. Now we go with another book that I'm sure everyone knows about, and it's Sunrise and the Reaping. It's a new book about the Hunger Games that tells the story of Haymitch, and that we're gonna actually have a film about it this year, so I'm really excited. I'm one of these people that read the Hunger Games when they were a teenager, so for me the Hunger Games is like in my heart. I just completely adore it. So having a new book in this universe and getting to experience the whole thing again, it was just completely amazing. Apart from that, I think the book is really good. It gives a real good message that nowadays is really important. We get to see the story of Haymitch and how he ended up being the person who he is, and we also get to see some things about other characters that we know and that we didn't know they were that important for Haymitch in a way, I think. And if you haven't read The Hunger Games, I don't know what you're waiting for. They might not be the best books in the world, but I feel like they kind of are at the same time. So just go for it, please. We're going with another Spanish series, which is La Trilogía Fuego. This series is about a cyborg or a robot that kind of has to try and survive in a human city, where if they get to know that she's a robot, she'll instantly be killed. And the first book was really interesting, really cool. You get to see her interact with all these humans and trying to learn their ways. But the second one is just, I didn't like it that much. So I'm kind of stuck, and I really want to finish the series because I know there's lots of people that like it. But I don't know, I don't really fancy it right now. I'll give it a try at some point, but not now. Now we're going to talk about a really famous book, which is Throne of Glass. I read just the first one. I want to keep going. Don't come to me. I really, really want to keep reading. It's just, I'm not in the mood for fantasy right now. So I need to be in the mood to read these books because I really want to enjoy them and not just like read them for the sake of reading it. So Throne of Glass is a really famous fantasy book written by Sarah J. Maas, the same author as the ACOTAR series. The first book of Throne of Glass is about this assassin that gets the opportunity to participate in some games to become part of the kin gods or something like that. So the idea is that she gets to save her own life and be free again if she wins these things. But at the same time, there's lots of things happening. There's lots of magic that wasn't supposed to be there. And there's lots of little tiny things happening that are making the story even better. It seems like a really good series. I really want to keep going. So we'll talk about this probably later on in the year. And now we get to that point in my year when I was like, I don't know what to read, I don't know what to do. So I just started reading some easy romances. First of which was Dungeons and Drama. Here we've got a teenage girl that absolutely adores theatre and musicals. And she's kind of this artistic girl. And all of a sudden she has to work for her father. And he works in one of these shops that is like Dungeons and Dragons and comics and little figures and those kind of things. And here's where she met this boy that is really into all those kind of stuffs, and all of a sudden they have to start fake dating. It was the first time I was reading the fake trope, and it was completely amazing. It's a cute romance, it's really easy to read, it's not the book of your life, but it's really enjoyable, and I needed to keep reading. So it's a really good book if you ask me. And there's a second part that I haven't read, to be honest, but there's more. And after reading that fake dating trope, I wanted more. So I looked online, and the first book that came out was First Down. It's supposed to be part of a trilogy, I think, but I just read the first one, and to be honest, it didn't feel like I was missing anything. Here is a romance between this girl that loves photography, and which she has like a kind of normal life, and this boy that is really, really rich and that is really into sport, and they start fake dating. And you know what? There's lots of spice, which I was not expecting, to be honest. And then the story, it's not that big of a thing, but it's just cute, easy to read, lots of spice, as I said. I just really liked it, really enjoyed it. Then I got to a book that it took me 4 months to read, and I'm not joking, it got me 4 months to read it. And that book is The Covenant of Water. This book is about a girl in India that has to marry a grown-up, as in a man. And once she does, she realises that his family has kind of a sickness that makes at least one person in each generation to actually pass away because of something related with water. In this story, we follow different generations trying to figure out what's happening, how we can end it, how we can fix it. You're going to follow different characters. There's things that are going to interest you more, things that might not interest you at all. I feel like there's lots of things related to Indian culture, and then there's lots of medicine involved as well. It was really interesting, and I'm really glad I read it, and the ending was completely mind-blowing. I really liked it. Next book was El Amino P. This book was really interesting as well because it's cards written between the characters in an island that bit by bit they prohibit using certain letters. It's really difficult to explain in a way, but basically the book starts using all the letters in the alphabet, and then bit by bit they use less and less and less. It was really interesting. It's a short book, kind of hard to read at some point, especially when they use really little amount of letters. I don't know if I'm explaining myself really well, but you know what I mean, I guess, hopefully. The next books I read were Powerless and Powerful, which I read as a tandem. These books are about this world where people have different powers, and there are some people that don't have powers at all. Those people are supposed to be killed. So our protagonist is one of these people that don't have any powers, but she's been living in this world for a long time, her whole life, and she was taught by her father how to kind of make people believe she has powers when she really doesn't. At the same time, there's a competition from time to time with all the most powerful people, and she's chosen for this competition, so she has to be part of this thing without any powers, really. For me, reading them as a tandem was a mistake because Powerful felt like it was something completely unnecessary. I still don't know why they would make that story, but I know there's lots of people that enjoy it. It might be that I was not really in the mood for it, I don't know. I just felt like Powerless was great, Powerful was something I could have just not read at all. After that I read Reckless and I liked it more. So I feel like the problem with Powerless was that I was reading it with Powerful at the same time. It's quite like a typical fantasy book that everybody enjoys, and it's kind of nostalgic because it's like kind of the same as other books that we normally enjoy. So if you were into Hunger Games, Throne of Glass, ACOTAR, this kind of things, you'll probably enjoy this as well. Then we go with my favourite book of the year, which was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This was our recommendation, and it was one of those recommendations that I was so glad I read. This book is about this actress that it's now retiring, and she decides to tell the story of her life that not many people know about. And especially she tells the story about her 7 husbands and who was truly her true love. I mean, it's a complete masterpiece. I'm so happy I read it, and I want to read it again, to be honest. And I 100% recommend it. I have to choose one book for you all to read in 2026, out of all the books I can recommend you, it's going to be this one. It's just, it has so many different important things, important messages going on, and at the same time it's just so nice and so powerful. It's just, what a book. I mean, yes, please just give me more. And if you've read it, let me know in the comments what you thought, because completely masterpiece, it's gold. Then I read No Longer Human. This was recommended to me by a stranger and I didn't like it at all. This book, it's supposed to be about a man that doesn't really know how to interact with society and doesn't really understand society, and we kind of get into his head and his decision, and it talks about suicide as well. But for me, it just, the way it was written, it made you not like the main character, so it's just really difficult to empathize. And maybe it's just that I didn't really get this story really well, but it was not something I enjoyed, and it was not something as interesting as I thought it would be. But it's not really something I would recommend. Next book is A Band of Steel. This was also recommended to me, and it's another book that I really didn't enjoy that much. It's a book about a family that has to run away from Germany to England because it's the Second World War and they are Jewish. At the beginning it was quite interesting and I was quite enjoying it, but at some point it just felt like there was so much drama and everything was kind of the same all the time. And at the same time we're in the Second World War, so I was kind of like trying to shake the characters, like, please stop thinking like you're in the 70s, but they obviously are way back. I don't know, it was just not for me in a way. And then at some point it started to go really well and I was like, yes, this is amazing, like we're going to something new for the time that we're in, and this is completely amazing. And then the ending ruined it again. So it's the kind of book that you find in the airport, and it's like the kind of book probably somebody that's older in your family it's going to read, but it's not for me and probably not for younger people. Next book, and we're nearly at the end now, is How to Kill Your Family. This book was really fun to read. We've got a woman that decides to get rid of his father's side of the family, if you know what I mean. And she does so in a way that's so creative. It's just really fun to read about it. And then she's really critical about lots of things that are happening in the nowadays world. And it was really fun to read, and I would recommend it 100% to everyone as well. I read another Spanish book written by a friend, and it's a book called Aquí yace el amor. A book of poems, and basically talks about love in different ways. It talks about the romantic love, about family, about friends, about loving yourself. At the beginning it was really intense, and then it's kind of like being in love. It's really intense at the beginning, and then you learn, and then you cry, and then you recover, and it was really magical, to be honest. And it was a really good book. I'm glad I could read it. Now we're going to talk about The Housemaid. This book made me want to keep going. I'm now officially a Freddie McFadden fan. Basically, we've got this woman, Millie, that starts working in a house as a housemaid. And then she starts noticing that the woman she works for is a bit weird, and there's lots of things happening, and she's like kind of like, whoa, what's this about? And to be honest, the beginning of the book might be a bit repetitive, and you're kind of like, come on girl, just keep going. But believe me, once you get to the 50% of the book, mind-blowing, completely amazing. It's just things happen all the time, and there's plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, and you're not going to see them coming. The first book, completely amazing. Second book, I really liked it as well, and really good. Third book for me was kind of a downgrade. Like, there's something different between the two first books and then the third one. By the way, it's really good, and you should read them all because it's completely amazing. And now I've got lots of thrillers that I want to read this year as well. So thank you, Freddie McFadden, because masterpiece. And the last book I'm going to talk about is Tuesdays with Morrie. This is a non-fiction, and it's about a man that gets in contact again with his old professor from university. And basically this professor is going through a really hard sickdom, and he's just gonna die at some point. So they both have these conversations about life and about topics that we don't really want to talk about normally, and they keep learning from each other, and it's really nice. And for me it was really lovely to read about it, and it was like heartbreaking in a way, but at the same time it was like a little hug. It was really interesting, and I think it's a good book to finish the year with. So I'm happy that I read it, and I'm happy that somebody recommended it to me. And that would be all. Those were all the books I read in 2025. I hope 2026 gives me lots of surprises again, and that we keep finding books that we enjoy, we keep discovering things, and just keep enjoying reading, because that's what we like. Again, you're more than welcome to leave a comment about books that you've read, books that you're looking forward to reading. You can like the video if you've liked it, and obviously you can subscribe as well. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye!